Hello and welcome back to my channel. As always, I am Matt from Cleveland Sex Therapy. I'm a licensed therapist and certified sex therapist. In part 2 of this series on sex therapy, I'm going to walk you through what a session is like with me, a certified sex therapist. What to expect, what the differences are from traditional therapy, and how to know when you're done with it. So with that being said, let's dive on in. When it comes to setting expectations, it's pretty safe to say that you have done some internal reflection on yourself to be reaching out to a sex therapist. There's either a roadblock that has appeared in your life or a struggle that has shown up in your relationship that has made you want to reach out to someone like me. Now, I can't speak for every sex therapist or every therapist in general, but what I can say is that in that first session, one of my main jobs is rapport building. It does not matter how awesome or competent I may be as a therapist. If I can't build a connection with you, we're not going to go a very long way. But before I get too far ahead of myself, let's talk about when you initially contact me. Now, every therapist does this differently, but after we talk about the logistics and finances, what I do is I send you all of the consent paperwork ahead of time so that you can complete it. I do this for two reasons. One, I want you to see what therapy is like with me. From my disclosure statement, which gives you sort of a brief history of me as a person and my experiences, to your rights and responsibilities, I want you to be aware of what you are signing up for when you enter therapy. I try my best to make there be little to no surprises as you walk in for the first session. And two, I want to get a better understanding of you and what I'm going to be working with in our time together. Most therapists have a policy where their sessions are around 45 to 60 minutes in length. During the first session, your job is to sit back, relax, and be open to all the questions that I'm going to throw your way. I typically follow this formula. The first thing I do is I go over the paperwork. I go over HIPAA and I talk about my cancellation policy. I touch on your rights and responsibilities. We touch on scheduling. We want to get all of that logistical formality stuff out of the way. After that, I then introduce myself in a formal way to you. I tell you a little bit more about who I am. I think this is such a crucial step that every therapist needs to do when meeting a new client for the first time. And then three, we jump on into that initial intake that you completed. We go over it, we talk about what you wrote, and we just start that process and that assessment of understanding more about what you're looking for. I make it a point in the first session to provide you with as much openness as I can. It is my job as a therapist to make you feel as comfortable as you can be so that you can then open up and engage in vulnerability. I want to create this security. I want to create this connection. Do not worry about filling the space. If it's silent, it's silent. I typically will pick up on that. And in the first couple sessions, I will fill that silence by just asking you more probing questions. Once the session is complete, we will typically schedule the second session, which is a continuation of the assessment. This is where I will also send you the sexuality questionnaire. And for the purpose of this video, this is also where the differences from traditional therapy begin. Oh, the sexuality questionnaire, a staple among sex therapists. When it comes to the differences between traditional therapy and sex therapy, this has to be the biggest. What this is a questionnaire that encompasses your entire life. The goal here is to have you reflect on everything relating to sexuality, from puberty to sex education, gender roles, views on relationship, views on masturbation, early sexual experiences, relational sexual experiences. Are you satisfied in your sex life? Let's talk about the BDSM community. It's really everything. It dives deep as a way to help you reflect and also connect what you may be experiencing today to your upbringing and what you learned in this world. I also get to read it, and I always feel so privileged getting access to my clients' intimate lives like this, and it provides me a window in, and I know specific things to look for depending on why you are in session with me to then bring up in session and talk to you about. Another main difference that shows up in sex therapy that is different from traditional therapy is the amount of education, or more specifically deprogramming, that sex therapists do with their clients. Now, this may not be true for every therapist in every situation, but in traditional therapy, I find that the assessment period is used a lot as a way to help the clinician figure out how they can incorporate their theoretical approach to helping the client. And theoretical approaches are like acceptance and commitment therapy, cognitive behavioral therapy, Gestalt therapy, right? These are just orientations that all therapists have, and they access this as a way to then help their clients. In sex therapy, while we do use our theoretical orientations with our clients, there is way more of an emphasis on breaking down and understanding the toxic beliefs that our clients have been exposed to. Those being sex negativity, purity culture, toxic gender messaging, or even heteronormativity. Remember the Matrix movies from the early 2000s? Well, I talk to my clients a lot about how I am Morpheus, and my job is to bring my clients out of the matrix of sex negativity and into a world that is more accepting and open and free. A final difference that I notice between sex therapy and traditional therapy is the duration of therapy. I find that people tend to be in sex therapy a little bit less when compared to traditional therapy. And if you think about it, that makes a ton of sense. When we look at traditional therapy, we look at therapists helping clients with these big macro experiences and thought processes that show up for them around depression and anxiety and PTSD and personality stuff. And there's just so much to work with. There's so much foundational that traditional therapists have to explore, and clients may be in therapy for years trying to understand themselves in that way. While with sex therapy, it tends to be a little bit more focused and goal-driven in some way, shape, or form. A client is reaching out to me because they have one specific concern. They either have problems maintaining an erection, problems achieving an orgasm, miscommunication in their relationship, or uncertainty about what they want. And we focus on that specific topic. And once that topic is feeling better or fixed in some way, then the client may feel like, all right, that's it, that's all I need. And they will move on to their life, or they will move on to another therapist to work on more general topics or concerns that they have. Now, this is all different for everybody. There are clients that I've worked with for multiple years, right? Therapy is also a way to explore, and goals can change and people can change. But in general, I find that sex therapy tends to be a little bit shorter in length when compared to traditional therapy. I wanted to wrap up this video talking about a question that I get asked often as a therapist, and I'm sure most therapists can attest to this, but the question tends to be, when do I know I am done with therapy, or when am I done with therapy? I always find this question to be a funny one because, quite frankly, I'm not in charge of when you are done with therapy. You can stop whenever you feel comfortable. I like to give my clients permission to stop therapy whenever they want, because I know that they can feel scared that if they do stop therapy, all of a sudden they're going to revert back to their old tendencies or their old ways. That is just not going to happen. Once you have the knowledge in your head, you can't go backwards. Your body, your mind won't let you. You may take a different route forward, but there's no going back. You are done with therapy in a number of ways, right? If you reach your goals, you're done with therapy. If you feel like you're not connecting with your therapist, then you may be done with therapy. Remember, therapy at its core is meant to be used in a time of need. You are feeling stuck on something and you want this extra support. While some people like to reach out to therapists to just do check-ins every once in a while, I offer that as well to clients. A majority of the time, people seek therapy because something is going on in their lives and they want to figure it out. Once you feel comfortable standing up on your own again, you have my permission to stop therapy. Thanks for watching. I hope I did a good job in answering any questions that you have about what a session would look like with a sex therapist. What have your therapy sessions been like? I'm so curious to hear how your experiences have been in therapy, the initial sessions and whatnot. So please comment down below and please like and subscribe. I love doing this and I can't wait to keep putting out more videos. Let me know what you want to see and I will make it a point to make a video about it. Until next time.